Hey everybody, this is Bo back in the Sports Lounge. We're going to do a catch up with one of our faves, LC Davis, after his big fight in WEC 42. LC, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Doing awesome, man. Thanks for the time. I'm sure you're starting to get ready for the next big fight.
Absolutely, man. I'm just got back into training last week, so yeah, getting pumped up, getting excited.
Now, typically, after a victory like that, where you went the distance with them, well, how much time do you usually take off to sort of, relax, fix yourself up before you start going back into the gym?
I usually take a week off for sure, depending on how many injuries or how banged up I am. For this fight, I did get a little banged up, and I had some stitches in my face, so I took 2 weeks off, went and visited my family and everything, and then gradually started getting back in the gym and doing a little conditioning and stuff like that, just to maintain what I got. I didn't want to get too bad out of shape because I knew I'd be fighting again real soon. So I was able to, not get too bad out of shape, and so I'm ready to turn it right back over for this fight and be even better next time out.
What was the biggest surprise for you with Javier? Every time we interview boxers and wrestlers and fighters, there's always something that that they are educating themselves on what they should do next time. What's that next time for you that you're going to try to pay attention to that he sort of surprised you?
Javier surprised me with his stand-up. All that I've got to watch on him when I prepared for that fight was he was super scared of the stand-up, and he was just diving in on people's legs trying to get it, just like desperate to get it to the ground. But against me, he actually trusted his stand-up, and we had pretty much a stand-up war. But what I learned from that fight is I learned a couple things, good and bad. I learned that I can take a punch, and that I'm, I learned that I can go through a battle and a hard war, So that I learned some things about myself that way, good. And I also learned negatively that I still got some things I got to work on. I think I was a little overly aggressive in the fight, and he was able to counter some of the stuff I did. So that's some of the things I want to be aggressive sometimes, and no times when to back off a little bit. Also, like that fight, I just think I was just go the whole time, and I never really took a step backwards and maybe countered him. Instead, I was just going and letting him counter me, and just getting what I could. So I learned some good and bad from the fight. So I'm glad I got the victory. Normally, when I learned stuff from fights, is after I lost. So I'm glad I got to win and learn some things. So.
Well, LC, if we look at your track record, you've been working like crazy, starting in February 25 of 2006 to 8/9/2009. You seriously get a chance to schedule a lot of competition, a lot of battles. With the new setup in the WEC, are you going to have a little more time to rehab, study yourself on game footage, and enjoy the fans?
Yeah, I mean, I would think I would get more downtime being with the WC and they have so many fighters, but right now I'm right back in the cage. I think if you win in the WC, they like to keep you going. So I'm turning around fighting another super tough guy in November, Diego Nunez. He's undefeated Brazilian. He's 2-0 in the WC, and he's 13-0 overall. Yeah, they're not giving me much of a break, man. They got me right back in there, so.
Well,
which is good. I like to stay busy. I like to, I think if you stay busy and you're training all the time, it just makes you improve more. So that's the way I like it. So
absolutely. Now, when you go back and look at WEC 42, did you get a chance to watch the Torres fight with Brian Bowles?
Oh, absolutely, man. I watched it in the stands. It was awesome.
We've been a big fan of Brian, just like yours, for several years now, and we were calling it out that Brian's peaking at the right time, his practicing schedule, just everything about him. And when he was hurt early, and he said he was hurt, but he said he was able to work through it because it wasn't that bad, but it was definitely, he stung him, and when he countered with his punch and took him out, he didn't think he was going to land a punch that flesh on his head and just took out Torres. I was kind of impressed by the fight by Brian because, like I said, he's been peaking really well, just like you have.
Mm-hmm. Actually, it's funny you said that because when we were there, the whole time we were there, I would see Brian in the hotel and different things, and every time I would tell my buddy who cornered me, I was like, man, I think Brian's going to upset Miguel. The whole time we were there, I just had that feeling that he was going to do it. I didn't expect him to knock him out in the first round, but I did expect him to finish Miguel and win that fight. So, I kind of called that one, but yeah, man, I think Brian Bowles is super tough, and so is Miguel Torres. Anything can happen at any given time. I just think in this sport, you win so much for so long, and Miguel has been doing, on an awesome streak. I just think his time had came, so I just think, it's time for Brian Bowles to go on a little run.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some changes now in the WEC from great champions to new faces coming on board, which is good for the sport. In MMA, and you can say this for yourself, is that you've got a very successful win streak. You had one loss a little while ago. You've recovered from that, did a marathon match, and now you're stepping back into the octagon again to follow up with it. You know this better than anybody else. Win-loss records, as long as the fans love you, it doesn't matter, because there's guys out there that have a 500 winning record, and the fans love them, and they keep plugging away after battle after battle after battle. How are the WEC fans, and how much are you loved? I bet you can just still hear them screaming your name.
Well, I hope so. I've only had one fight so far with the WEC, so I'm looking to build on my relationship with the WEC fans, but I feel with the hardcore MMA fans, I have a lot of those out there. The people that really follow MMA know who LC Davis is. So it's an honor to have some respect throughout the MMA society or whatever. But like you said about records, you really can't take anyone for granted, and you can't judge an MMA fighter off their record. It's not like boxing. We don't have padded records, and I feel I kind of did that when I got my loss. My last loss in Japan, I fought a guy. His record was 4-7 at the time, and I was just like, no way, someone's 4-7 is going to beat me. And I took a lot of things for granted, and I went out there and got beat by somebody that's 4-7. So and that guy ended up to make it to the finals in that single tournament. He's now 7-7, I think. So he beat some good guys. So you really can't take anyone lightly or take anyone for granted.
LC, why don't you give us that date that you're coming up on?
It's supposed to be November 11th, most likely in Las Vegas, but I heard the venue hasn't been set yet, and they said it might change to November 18th in Florida. But right now it's looking like November 11th in Las Vegas. It's the Jose Aldo, Mike Brown title fight card.
Yeah, we saw that. We were like, oh, that's going to be the big ticket. LC, thanks for showing up and being so tough. We're going to get you on again as we get closer to the November date and see how you're peaking.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. LC Davis, man, he's one of the guys been following the last several years. He's going to eventually get his big break in the WEC. Very impressive. Thanks a lot, LC.
Thanks, guys.
We are off the air.